What's good, YouTubers? Homeboy Crazy Camera today. I got a special video today. So as most of you know, it's the Christmas season, so we have to mix up two little holidays. We have to mix up Halloween and Christmas, because we didn't do a Halloween special and we didn't do a Christmas special. So now we're merging them together and we're putting them into one video. So what's good, YouTubers? Homeboy Crazy Camera. Today we're gonna be listening to 6 Christmas horror stories. Animated. Alright, I don't want to go too far because as right now I am so tired. It is 1 o'clock. Hold on, let me get my phone. I kid you not, I'm doing this 1 o'clock in the morning. That's crazy. But anyway, I'm doing this for you guys. Christmas, it's this time of year where I just have to use as much time as I can. I have a 3-week break before I go back to school, so I must use this time as best as I can. So make sure to go crazy and subscribe button. Look on the like button, hit the description just to know much more about this video. Comment some down below, what I'm saying, make it a little bit better, where this is our first reaction to horror films or horror things. It can be based on a true story, it can be based on a false story, but we don't know. We're just gonna watch this. Go ahead, probably gonna watch like 3 of them, to be honest. This is a 30-minute video, so there's no way in heck I'm gonna just sit down and watch this video like throughout the whole thing. But without further ado, let's get into this video.
It was just before Christmas of 2005, 3 weeks shy of my 50th birthday. I went to the gym, rode there and back on my bicycle, and unfortunately found myself struggling a bit in a drizzle and headwind on the way home. Got home, wife leaves for the movies with her sister, and my post-workout meal consists of snacking on some leftover chicken. But right as I'm stuffing my face, I noticed this dull, unusual pain in my chest. Felt like indigestion, and since I suddenly wasn't hungry anymore, I figured that's exactly what it was. Yet within a few minutes the pain got more intense and spread through my upper chest, and I know enough from movies and TV shows that when your left arm goes numb and you get those sharp chest pains, you're in a lot of trouble.
Sheesh.
First, I called 911. After that, I called my wife. EMTs were at my house in a few moments, and they got me on the sofa and began working on me. I began to feel very tired, like I wanted to close my eyes and sleep, but the EMT kept telling me to stay awake. I closed my eyes for what I thought was a moment. I just couldn't help it. And the next thing I know, I was on the floor, and an EMT was kneeling alongside me with the defib paddles in his hands. I had flatlined due to my heart working too fast. And I later learned was down to a 90% blockage of my artery. This happened at least 3 more times at the hospital before I was stable enough to have a cardiologist get me in an OR and insert a stent. Apparently they called that the Widowmaker or something, as only like 1 in 10 men of my age group survive it. So the fact that I'm still here is apparently nothing short of a miracle. I spent the next 3 days lying in a hospital bed, and after I was sent home, I spent another 2 weeks recovering in my own bed, followed by almost 3 months of cardiac physical therapy. I've recovered well and am a pretty healthy 64-year-old today. I take a number of maintenance meds, and I fought hard to keep my weight down and eat correctly. But I suppose what I really want to say here is that I don't recall going down before being shot back. It's like you don't know what's happening. When I came to, it was like waking up from a deep nap. But it's the nearest to death I've ever been, and although I don't wish to get that close again, there came a sense of peacefulness that I just wasn't expecting. And ironically, that's what creeps me out.
Bro has a diet for chicken.
Most. When I was a kid, I witnessed a neighbor murder his wife on Christmas Eve. I was still at that age where I actually believed in Santa, so
Alright, so it looks like that's story number 2. I don't really get the point of that story. It was not scary at all. I guess kids don't eat so much to the point where you start breathing and you get into cardiac arrest.
When I was a kid, I witnessed a neighbor murder his wife on Christmas Eve. I was still at that age where I actually believed in Santa, so when my mom and dad put me to bed, I stayed up and stared out the window, hoping to catch a glimpse of him landing on the rooftops in our neighborhood. It didn't take long before I realized that I could see into my neighbor's bedroom.
What the heck is this, bro? Like, bro, why are your eyeballs going out like that, bro? Like this is no regular kid. This is an alien, bro. Bro, like, what is you trying to get into? What are you looking at?
It was dark, and all I could see was the shape of a sleeping person, covered in a duvet, lit up by the light of a nearby TV. Not exactly Skinamax, I'm sure you'll agree, so I didn't feel too
Bro, if you don't change that look on your face, I will beat your ass.
guilty about it, and I kept on looking out for Santa's magic sleigh. Suddenly, there was movement in the bedroom across the way, and I looked in time to see my neighbor walking in with his sleeping wife.
Oh, hell
I tried
no.
to pry my attention away from the bedroom as he moved towards the bed, but then it's quickly drawn back when I see fast, violent movements in the light of the TV. In the low light, it just looked like my neighbor was hitting his wife. And I know that's bad enough, but all I could see were these downward, moving blows and nothing else. So as distressed as I was, all I told my mom and dad when I ran downstairs was like, I think the neighbor's beating up the neighbor mom. My dad just bolts upstairs.
Bro, why is the lady breathing so hard?
Figuring I'd seen something from my bedroom window. He went up to check it out, but by that time, someone had drawn the curtains. My dad asked me if I hadn't just had a bad dream, but I swore to him that I'd been awake and on the lookout for Santa. I then repeated everything I'd seen in exact detail, and by that time, Mom was listening too. When I finished, Dad and Mom gave each other a look. You know, one of those mom and dad concerned looks that's like an entire conversation within a silent word spoken.
I'm not gonna lie, bro, them eyebrows are in mad detail. Good job, whoever produced this. You did your job.
Then, my dad kneels down and asks me something. Buddy, are you sure that's what you saw? Because we could get in a lot of trouble if that's not true. But again, I'm not totally insistent that I saw what I saw. And I didn't find out what happened immediately after that until quite a while later. But as I was actually drifting off to sleep, Mom and Dad were downstairs having a very tense but quiet conversation. Dad, to his eternal shame, was insisting that I couldn't be sure, that the room had been dark, and that I might have even seen them possibly doing something that I shouldn't have, and just not understood what I was seeing. Mom, on the other hand, was steadfast in her better safe than sorry attitude, and told my dad that if he didn't call the cops, she'd take me to my aunt's place because she wouldn't be celebrating Christmas next to a wife-beating neighbor. And that was that. My dad called the cops.
I like her.
He said he was praying it was some kind of mistake, but given how he could just...
Not the calling the cops part, but she's being so self-aware for her kid. Hey, bro, me personally, I would have been left that house.
give an anonymous tip, he figured, why not? My parents then watched from their own bedroom window, which had a view of the neighbor's driveway, as the cops pulled up outside and knocked on their door. They said it was this nail-biting moment, hoping they'd hear the sound of the neighbor's wife answering the door before being all, "Oh, good evening, officers. What seems to be the problem?" That way, they could just carry on drinking eggnog and watching Jesus Christ Superstar or whatever they had on down there. But instead of that, they watched the cops knock, then knock again, all before they apparently turned on their flashlights and began circling the home. What woke me up was hearing, "Sir, come out with your hands up," and all this other cop speak when the police finally blocked off the guy's house for the eventual standoff that would unfold. Our neighbor had a gun, and he was threatening to shoot at police officers if they attempted to enter his home. The next thing I remember, my mom is rushing into my room and telling me to get dressed. The cops had knocked at our house and told us that they were evacuating the area, just as a precaution in case a shootout had commenced. Our house had that old stucco style of wall, which is apparently pretty safe, but even so, the cops weren't taking any chances. Considering that we lived in Texas at the time, the guy could have had anything in there. My parents say that when they were driving out of the area, the whole street lit up by blue and red flashing lights. They had no idea what kind of scene that they were going to come back to. This wasn't all that long after the whole Waco thing either. Well, a few years after, but fear of some repeat shootout type deal weighed on
What's good
everyone's
with his
mind
eyes,
as
bro? What's with
news
these
of the
characters'
standoff
eyes,
got
bro?
around town.
And their teeth.
And it
Like, what
ended
the
pretty
hell?
anticlimactically. The guy actually took his own life as the police were finally busting into his house.
Dang.
But upstairs they found the dead body of his wife, still lying in her bed,
Poor girl.
exactly where I'd seen her, stabbed more than 30 times.
Poor girl.
I hadn't been watching the guy hitting his wife. I've been watching him stab her over and over again, and all I'd done for a couple of the seconds there was just watch.
You couldn't have done
Once all the
anything.
info was out there, Mom and Dad tried as best they could to shield me from it, because they correctly figured that once I put two and two together and worked out what I'd seen, I'd be extremely messed up by it. And yeah, I really was. Seeing it screwed me up for a long time afterward, and I didn't grow up out of the general anxiety disorder until my early 20s. I just figured that if our neighbor could do something so terrible to someone he seemed to love, that anyone could do it. People I'd known for years, people I was otherwise warm to, they could be capable
Don't
of
touch
the
him.
obscenest acts of random
Get
evil.
off of me.
Just because they looked normal, just because they smiled when they saw you in the driveway in the mornings, didn't mean they were a monster,
They're weird.
hiding in plain sight. Back when I was a kid, me and all my brothers and sisters would sleep in the basement on Christmas Eve to give Santa, i.e. our parents, enough space to arrange all of the presents under the Christmas tree. One night, I remember noticing that there was a lot of noise coming from outside on the street, but we couldn't see or anything because there was snow covering the windows. Suddenly, our mom came downstairs and told us not to come upstairs until
She
she
dyed
told
her
us.
hair.
Not long after, we heard sirens and saw police lights reflecting in the snow.
The dad died.
But this was kind of a rough neighborhood, so it wasn't like a few emergency vehicles were going to make our ears prick up. There was a lot of commotion that we couldn't see, but we were so excited that it was Christmas Eve that we just didn't pay it any mind. Then, the next thing we know, my dad is walking down the stairs followed by none other than Santa Claus.
Bro, get out of my house. Get out of my house, bro. Like, I'll wait till next year, bro. Like I'll be in the naughty list, bro. Get the heck out of my house, bro. Look at the way that boy prostrated. Bro, look at the way his fists are built. That boy want to scrap with someone, bro. Like, look at his knuckles, bro. Hall of Fame hazard to the nation.
Himself. We all just freaked out. I heard you had to line up for hours at the mall if you wanted to meet Santa. Then there he was, making a guest appearance at my house on Christmas Eve.
He's gonna kill his
his
brother.
busiest time, which was definitely a high compliment indeed. We all said hi,
Get
ran
off
up and
him.
gave him hugs,
Don't.
before Santa told us that his sleigh crashed in the snow outside. He would
Yo, imagine it's the guy that killed himself. I know, bro. I know you guys always be thinking about these things. Like, somebody act like they're dead, or like they like, kind of like Kreese in Cobra Kai, or like the Karate Kid. He faked his death. So anything's
He
possible.
was waiting for the police to show up so
Even
that
though
we
it's a movie.
could get him back in the skies again.
Animation.
And while they were working to get him unstuck, he had decided to come visit a few of us neighborhood kids to see how our Christmases were going. He also had a huge surprise for us. He had a present for each of us, and we were allowed to open them early.
Don't grab it.
We opened them up,
Don't open
sang
it.
a few
Their
Christmas
heads.
songs, and then when we were done, Santa said goodbye and went back to delivering toys.
Their heads.
And it wasn't until years later that I found out what really happened that night. Santa hadn't crashed in the street outside. In reality, there had been a huge gang fight outside of our house involving knives and baseball bats. 3 people
Another
had
hair
lost their
change?
lives that night, which the EMTs were unable to save a single one of them.
Somebody.
In the chaos that followed, an older guy from our church who happened to live down the road to help keep us calm with all the violence outside. So, not knowing that we were blissfully ignorant of it, he put on his Santa suit and came over once the police arrived. Santa was a hero to me as a
What's in the
child,
bag?
but I now know that it was a kindly neighbor that was the real hero. And stuff like that is what Christmas is all about.
I guess that's the end of story 3. Man, frick you looking at. Enjoy this. Yeah, stop it. This is not scary, creepy. This is not. I mean, maybe we like it up if you guys want to see the other 3, you know, before Christmas ends, you know, because I got all Christmas break to just give you all this beautiful content, you know. I'm here, alright? Just know that you guys will not be disappointed this time. And yeah, man, basically, that is gonna end this video. You know, we listened to 3 out of 6 Christmas horror stories animated. You know, they weren't as scary horror. They're pretty much Christmas stories with like killing, pretty much, and that's not really that scary. But must be scary to him though. But make sure to go crazy on the subscribe button, look on that like button, hit the description just to know much more about this video. Please comment down something below. Sorry. Comment something down below, you know, I was gonna make it a little bit better. And please share this video. Your challenge of this video is to send it to at least 5 people. Alright, without further ado, Merry Christmas. I have more Christmas videos coming out, and you know, don't worry, bro, I got something good for y'all, you know what I'm saying. And I'm trying to play a walkthrough for you guys, you know, a whole series for like a game. Alright, give me what game y'all want, and I'll for sure be playing that. Without further ado, man, be out. Peace.